Welcome to Drinks Coach. It's that time. The first time I've done this on my show. Started in lockdown. We're at episode mid-80s now. Vinesack or lowercase. Drinks Coach UK or lowercase. You're watching the Drinks Coach UK on YouTube. If this is the first time, click subscribe, hit the bell, see the notifications. I'm now going to do an episode every single night until Christmas. So that's 5 straight. And then do a couple before New Year's to talk about party drinking. I've got so many kind people waiting for me to recommend their products that I've already said that I wanted to do. So all the hard work's been done, the tasting bit. Now I've just got to churn out the shows, tell you what's what. Okay, so this is the Posh What to Drink on Christmas Day lineup for this year. I'm going to do one which is less posh because we've all been through the ringer this year. We've all had it. We're in hospitality. And frankly, if you have the opportunity with all the terrible news we just had, Tier 4. What the hell is that? They say, we're not in lockdown, we're in Tier 4. Tier 4's worse, isn't it, than lockdown when you look at the rules? Anyway, it doesn't matter. We all have to cope with this and we have to be grown up about it. And I'm not sure any political party would be in any better position. Think about what Angela Merkel's doing. Think about New Zealand, Australia. This stuff is real, and no one's getting away with this scot-free. So, enough about the politics. Here's such a beautiful range of wines. And I want to talk about them succinctly, briefly, quickly, but with love. First one. What are you going to drink on Christmas Day in the morning? I always like to drink a bottle of fizz. Maybe that's a bit early for some of you. But I recently was kindly invited around to the wine journalist and wine tasting guru and former barrister, Anthony Rose. Anthony Rose, who's a great friend of mine, has written this incredible book on sake and is currently writing a book on sparkling wines. And he invited me round, saying he's done a lot of the hard work, but coming up to Christmas, he wanted to taste the nice wines that were left over, the expensive wines from, let's say, Italy, from England, from France, in small batches. So he really gives them the shrift that they deserve. And also told me to bring 5 sealers so I could bring the other ones home, the ones that he didn't want to drink. Well, he let me have this, which, Anthony, if you watch this, was very kind of you because you know this was the best wine in the lineup. But you took a glass and let me have the rest. And my wife and I drank this with glee last night. All right. You're pushing the boat out. This is the pushing the boat out show for some of you out there that still can. This is Ayala. Ayala is a champagne house owned by Bollinger. Has been since, I'm not sure, but since post the 1999 release. But it's got to be pushing 20 years now. This one's called Number 7 Brut. It's all from the 2007 vintage, which I rather liked. It kind of got skimmed over. 2006 was universally declared by champagne houses as a vintage wine. And most of them are bollocks. I mean, they really are. If there is a problem with champagne at the moment, it's that global warming means that the wines are now consistently getting too ripe. So it's very hard to find that tension and tightness and refreshing, shivery nervosity that's good sparkling wine should give you. And they're all kind of a bit lying in a deck chair with a string vest on, with a chalk ice and shades on, watching other people exercise. So champagne doesn't taste as athletic as it used to. Sure, they had spikes of heat back in the day. 1976 was a champagne vintage which people thought was going to be a disaster. But the amount of extract and tannin in the wines allowed the wines to then still be balanced, even though they didn't have the acidity of other cooler vintages like 75 that preceded it. Now, that's a long way back. The 2007 vintage, all the wines I've tasted from it have been incisive, crystal. I'm going to put a banana up that guy's tailpipe. He does that every single day. God, that man. Guy buys a new bike and tells everyone else about it. Okay, so this wine, I think retails for £70 or slightly less. If you go online, I think Harvey Nichols, because they can, 75. But I've seen it as little as 61. But if you look Ayala, number 7, 2007 up on the internet, you'll find this wine. And this wine is, as I said, a fantastic champagne house that's been groomed and looked after by Bollinger, its owner, for 2 decades now. And this wine is made from 7 different Grand Crus of Chardonnay. So it's a Blanc de Blanc from the Montagne de Reims and the Côte de Blanc. And it's magnificent. I can't describe it another way. When Anthony and I tasted this, and we tasted all the wines blind, we're like, wow, wow, woo, wow. Tastes like Bollinger. But Bollinger with polish. It tastes really young, like it's got a long way to go. It's flipping 13 years old. A bottle of Bollinger Vintage 2012 was the last release that I saw, is 125 quid. You can buy nearly 2 of these for that, and I'm not entirely sure that I prefer the Bollinger Grand Année to number 7 2007. This is the deal in the Bollinger house right now. What does it taste like? It's nutty, it's savoury, it's not sweet in any way. It's got a very low dosage. It feels like 4 or 5 grams at best. It's got this wonderful, sort of creamy, slightly biscuity, toffee-ish edge to it. But at the same time, it feels like it's vibrant. It makes the senses in your mouth all go fire up and sparkle, and it gives you a kind of shiver down your back because it's still taut and muscular and virile and ready to go. It's like a coiled spring, ready to jump at action like some kind of posh Zebedee. Okay, enough about him. It's empty. I drank it last night. Even the Dreg tastes fantastic. Okay, next one. It's rare that supermarkets send out, on request, wines as smart and as expensive as this. But I want to say thank you very much to Hazel, to Sue and Belinda and all the girls in the Marks and Spencer's wine buying team. But this was clearly bought as a super special for the Marks and Spencer's inner cellar fine wine lineup. How beautiful is this? And those people in the wine trade who know this label, I mean, this label is iconic. This bottle's heavy. It's got a punt so big you could lose a squirrel in it. And if you see around the neck of the bottle, it says, if I can get this right, Lucien Lemoine, the magician of Burgundy. He's a negociant, he's a winemaker, he makes tiny micro quantities of wines, all levels in Burgundy. And I think particularly his whites are exquisite. Those people, Alex Hunt out there from Berkman, you know what I'm talking about. You were the first person to introduce me to Lucien Lemoine. Thierry, the great master sommelier, who used to own the restaurant Angelus, invited me once round for lunch and poured me 2 glasses of their Shazam Montrachet Premier Cru. It's a 250 quid wine. And I remember thinking, this is maybe the best white Burgundy I've ever had. This is a Saint-Romain, which is from the Côte d'Or. It's from the Côte de Beaune. It's from the area which is kind of the Bethlehem, the epicenter of great Chardonnays around the world, that everybody, at least initially, starts by trying to replicate wines from this region. And it's got an Hospices de Beaune label. Every year in the Hospices de Beaune, which means the Beaune Hospital, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful old building. I think it was built in the 1400s. Incredible Tuileries. The tiles have got these incredible patterns on. This is 2017, which is a vintage which was very small in white Burgundy, but had fantastic tension and freshness. And it looks, by all accounts, it's going to age exceptionally well. This that auction, they auction off wines from producers considered to be the best of their appellation, of their region, of their commune, and they go up to crazy money. And you basically have to go there. And if you want to buy wine at the Hospices de Beaune auction, you're auctioning a barrel. You're buying a whole barrel, which then gets bottled into 300 separate bottles. And on this label, it says, "Élevé à mise en bouteille par Lucien Lemoine." It's been made and bottled by Lucien Lemoine from Beaune in France for Marks and Spencer. So some dude, I don't know which of the ladies went down there. It probably was Sue, I'm guessing. I don't know, I could be wrong. Went and actually bought a barrel of wine for Marks and Spencer to be bottled up for Christmas. How stylish and how polished is that? How cool is that? 50 quid. Saint-Romain isn't even that higher elevated kind of appellation. I think typically prices for Saint-Romain as a white Burgundy sort of hover, I think, around the high very cheapest possible, like the co-op quality, high 10s to maybe the high 20s. Not much more than that. 50 quid. But it is Lucien Lemoine, and it is 2017, and it is his barrel, his single selected barrel, that was chosen for the Hospices de Beaune auctions, one of the oldest, most famous sites in the wine world. Oh, God. So good. So good. There are people out there that probably would pay £50 for a bottle of red wine once a year. There's certainly people out there that will pay £50 for a bottle of champagne or sparkling wine once a year. But probably think buying a bottle of white wine's a step too far. Wow, US&A! This is amazing wine. It's got a beautiful, tight kind of pale straw with green hues colour. Almost looks like a parfum, almost, or a saucer. You put it in your mouth. It's smoky. It's taut. It smells of lily of the valley and lemon curd and white chocolate buttons. And when you taste it, it's got acidity like... But you know when you bite into that first really nice clementine of the year that you buy in the shop with the silly leaf on the end, and you put it out and you try and like, and it's sweet and sour at the same time? That wonderful wintry flavour is in this wine. I'm trying hard at this stage to think of a better white wine I've tried this year. Can I say, well done, Marks and Spencer's. This is the best white wine I've tasted in the entire year. I've had more expensive ones, but it's already 50 quid. Let's not get messy. Okay, moving on. Katya, very, very much. Sorry, Katya, very, very much. Katya, thank you very, very much. Katya is responsible for the PR for Davys Wineshop. You would have known of Davys Wine Bars if you're a suit from the city. Old school kind of little kind of bolt holes for men in what do you call them? Braces and chalk stripe suits to talk about the index of the day. They sent me some wines. Katya sent me some wines, and seemed to be very happy and get abandoned to pick the wines that she really thought were good. So I asked for the good ones back. If you see my port show, by the way, because I'm not doing dessert wines here, the port show from the one I just did, the Silvera 10-year-old Tawny, that was from Davys. Amazing port, 35 quid, worth every penny. This is 35 quid too. This is New Zealand Pinot Noir, bottled especially for Davys Wine Merchants by the lovely people at Kano. Isn't that a beautiful, beautiful label? Yes, it is. I think it's gorgeous, right? Absolutely lovely. This is from 2017 vintage. I'm afraid I'm not actually up on what the styles of different vintages in New Zealand were like the last couple of years, but just lovely to look at. What does it taste like? Well, I'll tell you, but I'm not going to open it yet because... And I've got to be honest here, Katya, this is going to be the one that my wife and I drink in 4 days' time on Christmas Day. And I don't want to open it now, so it's a bit knackered then. Is that all right? But this is it. This is Daddy's big choice. This is Joe's favourite for Christmas. It's New Zealand Pinot Noir, but it manages to capture the greatness of other Pinot Noirs, old school French Pinot Noir, and have the richness that makes Central Otago, this incredibly unusual arid region, this desert region almost in the South Island of New Zealand, produce extraordinary Pinot Noir. If you're familiar with the wines of Mount Difficulty or Felton Road or Ripon, these are some of the world's best wines, no doubt, no question about it. I don't know this producer apart from the wines that Katya has sent me. It's 35 quid. Clearly I didn't have to pay for this. She sent this to me, so sorry. But then again, I'm not earning much money this year, so fantastic. Spores of war. Sorry. So this is the wine I'm actually going to drink with the turkey. We've booked our turkey at Waitrose. Very excited about that. And this is delicious. Pinot Noir is a great variety, which is very soft, low in tannin, nebulous almost like fluffy. But this wine has brightness within. It's almost like there's this kind of torch inside the wine, and it's bright sour cherry fruit with hints of black raspberry, like that Chambord liqueur that you can buy, which goes in a French martini. Oh yes. This wine has this kind of slightly licorice aroma because it's quite high in alcohol. It's 14%. But it has lovely freshness, great zingy acidity, just enough tannin, just to coat the lips until you eat your first pig in blanket, and then, wowee-wah. Okay, so, Kano, Central Otago, 2017 Pinot Noir. If it's not too late, I strongly recommend this. You either go to a Davys wine shop, or you can still buy it online. Maybe they can sort out some kind of next day delivery, I'm not sure. But sorry if it's a bit late. Fantastic wine. Okay, now we're going to go on to wines which I won't be having if I wasn't having turkey. Okay? Because not everyone else has turkey. Not everyone likes turkey. And in the grand scheme of things, turkey is a very, very expensive thing to buy. And actually, maybe if it's once a year, making a beef Wellington, which is exotic on its own, is far cheaper than buying a whole bird. Or maybe you're buying goose. Wise purchase. I think that goose is the nicest Christmas bird because it goes with claret. And if it means it goes with claret, it means you can save that very special bottle all the way through the year and look forward to it, drooling every time you look at it, going, oh yes, you will be mine, oh yes. And then on Christmas Day, goose and claret works. Turkey and claret, not so much. Okay, so we've got 3 wines here. I will taste these with you because they're really lovely. One's from Tesco's, 2 of them from Marks and Spencer's. Haven't Marks and Spencer's done well? I tasted loads and loads of wines, by the way, and these are the wines really that genuinely were the ones that really filled me with joy. Charlotte Lemoine, head senior buyer of Bordeaux at Tesco, one of the largest retailers of alcohol on earth, second only to the Ontario Liquor Board in Canada. Charlotte, my dear darling, by the way, she's a very talented wine buyer. She does a very, very good job. You'd be surprised if you go to Tesco and buy stuff from Bordeaux and also the Rhône. Their Côte d'Or Village is superb. She's doing an amazing job considering the scale of buying that she's responsible for. And she's been picking out little specials here and there for Tesco's finest. And this is the one I really like. I'm not sure if I've done one of this before. I think the last time I drank this in anger was before we started the drinks coach. But if you see that, it says, it's very hard to see because it's so shiny. And let's see if I can turn this down. It says on the silver label, oh yeah, Chateau Cazauviel. There we go. Chateau Cazauviel is an estate, as far as I know. It's an estate in Margaux, which has many, many cru classes, wines that have been given class growth status. You see that name written on Bordeaux bottles. It's usually a sign it's both expensive and usually quite good. I think they've got 21 out of the 61 class growths. And this is actually made by Chateau Boyd Cantonac, which is a rapidly improving, and I say rapidly improving, it's already very, very good, but since the 80s when it wasn't so great, it's become a very, very reliable source of delicious Margaux appellation-styled wines. The wines from Margaux named the appellation after Chateau Margaux, their best estate, which is one of the only 5 premier Grand Cru Classes, first growths. And that kind of set the tone for the rest of the appellation. They're beautifully floral, silky, svelte, less dense and hard work than young Saint-Estèphe or Pauillac. They're not as beat you up as those wines are when they're younger, but they become ephemeral and pretty and beautiful, but they still remain structured and age-worthy. So, Boyd Cantonac has made this, Chateau Cazauviel. 2014 was a lovely vintage, and a vintage I've been harking from the rooftops about because I think it was mildly underrated. But 2016, far from it. Everyone knows, or people are starting to realise, it's possibly, certainly in my opinion, one of the best vintages for 100 years. For 100 years. It's better, famous vintages, 61. It's better than that, slightly bigger for a start. Not quite as concentrated, but more elegant. 82. Probably a par with 82, if not slightly better. 90, better. 2009, I think it's better. 2010, on a par, but 2010 was less reliable. Some wines didn't quite make it; they were too alcoholic. So 2016, if you see that on expensive Bordeaux, is a vintage to look out for. It was phenomenal, and I think I've drunk more good wine from 2016 than any other vintage in my lifetime that I've tasted. Okay. Dark in colour, as you'd expect Bordeaux to be. This is from the Medoc, so it's driven by Cabernet Sauvignon. I think it's not massively dominated by Cabernet. I think it was about 55-60%, but made from Merlot and blah, 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 the other Bordeaux varieties. So pretty. Such a bargain. So this is a proper claret made by a proper Bordeaux estate in one of the most prestigious and well-known wine regions of the world, which is Margaux. £22 of your honest cash, please, sir, for that, which is terrific value for money, I've got to say. Smells of cedar. Goût de capsule, which is the French sort of like name for the taste of this bit, the capsule. Because in the old days it was made of lead and it had a kind of earthy taste. We'd prefer to say it smells of cedar box or cedar drawers or pencil shavings. It has a lovely cedary, fresh shaven pencil smell. Everyone likes that, right? Can't resist. Velvety, still taut, still young. Perfectly capable, if you've got to give that as a gift, of aging very nicely, I think, for a decade to a decade and a half. But almost irresistible now. If you're having roast rack of lamb, if you're having goose, this is perfect for that. The fattiness of the goose, the zingy acidity of this wine, the perfect floral fruit, and all that, and the goose fat potatoes. I just can't see a better match. That's wonderful. Right, going over to the other side, to Marks and Spencer's. This was a wine that was blended by the lovely Australian Belinda Kleinig. And this is a wine made from Merlot and Cabernet Franc. It's not made in the bit in Bordeaux that does that. It's in the bit that goes out, the Dordogne, where Merlot is king, not Cabernet Sauvignon. So this is a Merlot Cabernet Franc blend. Pardon me, Cabernet Franc was the kind of the granddaddy of what we call the Carmenet family of grape varieties. I mentioned this before. Forgive me. And Cabernet Franc then turned into Cabernet Sauvignon, Sauvignon Blanc, Carmenet, then cross-pollination happened, and you got Habsburg Empire of grape varieties, and you ended up with Merlot and so forth. Anyway, so this wine is made from an entirely different grape variety, but it's also from the otherworldly 2016 vintage. And it says on it, Christian Muix, Établissement Jean-Pierre Muix. This is a negociant, or at least a trade wine merchants, importer, distributor, which has been around for a very long time, since way before the Second World War, in Libourne. And Libourne is the capital of the region of Pomerol. In the 60s, Pomerol you could buy for £1 a bottle. The world's most expensive wines come from there now. Chateau Petrus is from Pomerol. Amazing what half a century does. Amazing how fortunes can change. But just pointing out that Jean-Pierre Muix, they own Petrus. So this is a red wine. We don't know what estate it's from. It's not from Pomerol, but this was made by the winemaking know-how, the winemaking team who make Petrus and some other really incredible wines. But it's from Saint-Emilion, which is next door to Pomerol. Saint-Emilion has been making wine since Emperor Augustus, which I think is about 4th or 5th century. I'm sorry, my dates aren't great. But the Romans have been making wine there. And, well, what can I say? Cabernet Sauvignon, upright, taut, absolutely no excess cloth or flesh on that suit. It's like a perfectly tailored Oswald Boateng suit. Saint-Emilion, a little bit more boho, a little bit more wave in the wind, a bit more boxer shorts flapping. Has a bit more looseness, I suppose, more fragrance in its youth. Plummy, dark fruits. If that's a Paul Smith or a Boateng suit, that's a pair of leather jeans. Smooth, cool, sexy. Amazing wine. Oh, I forgot to check the price. Should I do that while we're live? Why not? Okay. So, moving on to a wine in a minute, which is going to go for the other choice that my friends have at Christmas, which is the idea that at Christmas is a day for beef Wellington. Why not, indeed? And beef Wellington is a wonderful thing, but beef Wellington, I think, has specific matches that work very well. I'm putting in Saint-Emilion. Saint-Emilion, Marks and Spencer. You see, it's really nice. It's taken me nearly a year to realise this is my own show and I can do what I like, which I'm doing right now. And I don't think it's ruining anything because I'm still saying relatively useful things. £90 for a case of six. It's 15 quid. That's 15 quid. Ball selector. Get involved. Go down to Marks and Spencer's. Get some of this ting. If you want a nice, more taut, goose-friendly wine, go and get some of this ting. 22 quid. I suppose I better stay on this website and find out how much their Chateauneuf du Pape is as well. Chateauneuf. Okay. This is a little more expensive, but then it does taste really fantastic. So, this is 2019 Marks & Spencer's Chateauneuf du Pape, which was also sent to me by the very kind burgers at Marks & Spencer's. Because of lockdown, they couldn't have a press tasting. But I was just astonished. The stuff they sent me, it shows confidence in what they do, doesn't it, really? Or no, another blend made by Belinda. Congratulations, Belinda. You're doing a killing job. Okay. Oh. Okay, Chateauneuf du Pape, what's that all about? Chateauneuf du Pape is the grandest, most famous appellation in the southern Rhone, in the Rhone Delta. It can be made from up to 13 varieties. Some of the most expensive ones are made from one, which is Grenache. This wine smells like it's not straight Grenache. It smells like it's got some Mourvèdre in it. Made from Grenache, Syrah and Mourvèdre. Here we go. So, it smells like... it smells like warm raspberry tea. I mean, that sounds really weird, but I used to drink fruit teas when I was at school, trying to keep my caffeine levels down. And the smell of dried raspberry in a tea, that infusion, it smells like a warm raspberry jam, like sort of like on toast. Oh, it smells quite delightful. And there's also some earthy dryness around the edges. It's alcoholic, pushing 15%, I wouldn't wonder. 23 quid. Okay, so start. 60 to 70 pounds. Remember, this is only for the people that can. Incredible champagne. I don't think I've had a better champagne all year. I certainly haven't had a better white wine than this that I can remember that gave me as much pleasure as this. But this is the reason why the world worships at the altar of white Burgundy, because when it's this good, nothing at all tastes better, with the possible exception of some Riesling from Germany. Now, to Kano Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir is wonderful. Drink red Burgundy if you like. Drink Beaujolais, which is in my better value kind of group of wines for Christmas. But then here we go. Posh wines for Christmas that go with Christmas food. Cazo Viel, Tesco's Finest, 2016 Margaux goes with Goose. Saint-Emilion, Grand Cru Classé, Jean-Pierre Mouix. What did I say? £15? Wonderful, wonderful Bordeaux for £15. Rack of lamb. Okay. Then the last one. A lot of people out there like their beef Wellington and their Chateaubriand. Chateauneuf du Pape. 23 quid. Bob's your uncle. Oh, dessert wines? I was thinking, where are we? Don't have any. Oh, well, I do have this. This is Reverend Huberts Winter Gin Liqueur. If you go to Marks & Spencer's, buy this as well. It's on the shelf. Buy it. You can't miss it. Look, it's staring you in the face. It's got a winky face on it. This literally tastes like a mouthful of the world's best mince pies. In fact, while you're there, buy some mince pies. Rant over. See you next time.